My ex still thinks we might get back together, so don't post about us, she said on our fourth date. I posted one thing, a relationship status change to single, blocked her number, and moved on. She showed up at my gym a week later. I introduced her to the girl I was training with. Original post. I 29, Mel had been with Victoria 27 for exactly 3 weeks and 4 dates when she dropped that bomb on me. We were sitting in a corner booth at Rusty's Diner on 4th Street, splitting a plate of loaded nachos, when she casually mentioned that her ex-boyfriend Marcus still checked her social media obsessively and thought they might reconcile someday. So, I need you to not post anything about us, Victoria said, dragging a tortilla chip through the queso. No relationship status changes, no couple photos, nothing. Marcus is going through a tough time, and I don't want to hurt him unnecessarily. I set down my beer and stared at her. You want me to keep our relationship a secret because your ex might have his feelings hurt? It's not like that, she insisted, tucking a strand of her blonde hair behind her ear. We dated for 4 years. I still care about him as a person. He's fragile right now. Just give it a few more months until he's in a better place. A few more months? I repeated slowly. Is that really such a big deal? We're still dating. Nothing changes between us. It's just about being considerate. She reached across the table to touch my hand, her green eyes pleading. I pulled my hand back. So let me get this straight. You want me to be your secret boyfriend because your ex of however long still hasn't moved on, and you're more concerned about his feelings than about being honest about us. You're twisting my words, Victoria said, her voice taking on an edge. I'm asking for basic human decency towards someone I spent 4 years of my life with. How long have you been broken up? She hesitated. 8 months. 8 months, and she was still managing his emotions. I should have seen the red flags earlier. On our second date, her phone had buzzed constantly with texts she kept glancing at nervously. On our third date, she'd spent 20 minutes in the bathroom dealing with what she called an emergency from a friend. Now it all made sense. I'm going to pass, I said, pulling out my wallet. Pass on what? This. Us. Whatever this is where I'm supposed to hide in the shadows while you keep your ex warm on the back burner. I dropped 2 20s on the table. I'm looking for an actual relationship, not a situation. Victoria's face flushed red. You're being dramatic. Fine. If you can't handle a simple request, then maybe we're not compatible. I agree completely, I said, standing up. Take care, Victoria. I walked out of that diner, got in my Ford Ranger, and drove straight home to my apartment on Maple Avenue. The first thing I did was pour myself a whiskey. The second thing I did was open Facebook on my laptop. My relationship status had said, in a relationship, since our second date, when things seemed promising. With 3 clicks, I changed it to single. No announcement post, no explanation, no drama, just a factual status update. Then I opened my phone, blocked Victoria's number, and went to bed. I figured that was the end of it. I dodged a bullet, learned a lesson about paying attention to red flags, and could move on with my life. 1 week later, I was at Ironworks Gym on Tuesday evening around 7 o'clock, finishing up a session with my buddy Derek's younger sister, Jasmine. Jasmine, 24, had asked me to help her learn proper weightlifting form after years of cardio-only workouts. We'd been training together twice a week for about a month, completely platonically. She had a serious boyfriend named Kyle, and I was just the guy helping her deadlift without throwing out her back. We were at the squat rack, and I was spotting Jasmine through her working sets when I noticed someone staring at us from across the gym floor. My stomach dropped when I recognized the blonde hair and yoga outfit. Victoria. She marched across the gym floor like she owned the place, her white sneakers squeaking against the rubber mats. I hadn't even known she went to this gym. In 3 weeks of dating, she'd never mentioned it. Nathan, she called out, loud enough that several people turned to look. We need to talk. Jasmine re-racked the barbell and turned around, looking confused. Friend of yours? Not exactly, I muttered. Victoria stopped right in front of us, hands on her hips, breathing hard like she'd just finished a workout, though I suspected it was anger, not exercise. You blocked my number? Are you serious right now? Victoria, this isn't the time or place, I said calmly. You humiliated me. Her voice was rising, drawing more attention. You changed your relationship status to single without even talking to me first. Do you know how that made me look? Marcus saw it. He called me. My friend saw it. Everyone thinks I got dumped. You did get dumped, I said flatly. At the diner. When I walked out. Remember? We were having a discussion. You don't just change your relationship status in the middle of a disagreement. That's childish. Jasmine cleared her throat. Should I give you two some space? No, I said quickly. Then, turning to Victoria with exaggerated politeness, I gestured toward Jasmine. Victoria, I'd like you to meet Jasmine. Jasmine is someone I've been spending time with at the gym. Jasmine, this is Victoria. We went on 4 dates, and she wanted me to keep our relationship secret so her ex-boyfriend's feelings wouldn't be hurt. I declined that arrangement, which brings us to now. Jasmine's eyebrows shot up, but to her credit, she played along beautifully. Oh, well, nice to meet you, Victoria. She extended her hand with a smile that could cut glass. Victoria ignored the hand, her eyes darting between us. Are you kidding me right now? You're already with someone else. It's been 1 week. I'm single, I said with a shrug. My Facebook status says so. I'm free to train with whoever I want. Training, Victoria said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Right, that's what this is. Actually, yes, Jasmine interjected, crossing her arms. Nathan's been helping me with my squat form and deadlifts. We're just friends, but even if we weren't, I'm not sure why that would be your business. Didn't you dump him at a diner? He walked out on me during a conversation. After you told him to keep your relationship secret for your ex-boyfriend, Jasmine shot back. Yeah, he mentioned that part. Girl, what were you thinking? Victoria's face went from red to purple. This is none of your business. You made it everyone's business when you started yelling across the gym, Jasmine said cheerfully. But hey, Nathan's a good guy, so I can see why you're regretting this. I had to fight to keep a straight face. Jasmine was absolutely roasting her, and Victoria had no comeback. Nathan, can we please talk privately? Victoria's tone shifted, becoming softer, almost pleading. I think we had a misunderstanding. I didn't mean. There's nothing to talk about, I interrupted. You were clear about what you wanted. I was clear that I wasn't interested. That's it. We're done. But I've been thinking about it all week, and maybe I was being unreasonable. We could try again, without the restrictions. I'll post about us. I'll tell Marcus it's over for real. Just give me another chance. The desperation in her voice almost made me feel bad. Almost. Victoria, listen carefully. I'm not interested in trying again. You showed me exactly who you are. Someone who prioritizes an ex-boyfriend's feelings over an actual relationship with someone new. That's not what I want. I wish you the best, but we're not getting back together. So you're choosing her? Victoria gestured at Jasmine accusingly. I'm choosing me, I said firmly. Now please leave. You're disrupting everyone's workouts. Victoria stood there for another few seconds, looking like she wanted to say more, but the gathering crowd of curious gym-goers must have finally penetrated her awareness. She turned on her heel and stormed toward the exit, nearly colliding with a guy carrying dumbbells. The moment she was gone, Jasmine burst out laughing. Oh my God, Nathan, what was that? That, I said, was a bullet I successfully dodged. Successfully dodged? Dude, you're like Neo from the Matrix with that dodge. She wanted you to be her secret boyfriend for her ex? That's insane. Tell me about it. I ran a hand through my hair, suddenly exhausted. Sorry you got dragged into that. Are you kidding? That was the most entertainment I've had all week. Derek is going to die when I tell him. She paused, then added more seriously. But really, you handled that well. You didn't engage with her drama. You didn't get angry. You just stated facts. That takes character. Thanks, Jasmine. Now, you still have 2 more sets of squats to finish. She groaned. You're a monster. We got back to the workout, though I kept one eye on the entrance in case Victoria decided to come back for round 2. She didn't, thankfully, and Jasmine and I finished the session without further incident. Later that night, back at my apartment, I got a friend request on Facebook from a name I didn't recognize, Marcus Chun. I clicked on the profile and immediately recognized him from the photos, Victoria's ex-boyfriend. Tall, athletic build, dark hair, and in every single photo with Victoria that hadn't been deleted, he looked possessive, his arm tight around her shoulders. I declined the request and changed my privacy settings. The next morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls from an unknown number and a string of text messages from a number I didn't recognize. They were all from Victoria, who'd apparently borrowed a friend's phone to get around the block. The messages read, Marcus wants to talk to you. He thinks you're lying about breaking up with me. Just call him and explain. His number is 555-0147. Please, Nathan. I need you to fix this. I deleted the messages, blocked that number too, and went about my day. 2 days later, Derek called me. Hey man, Jasmine told me about the Psycho Gym incident. That's wild. Yeah, it was definitely a scene, I admitted. Well, it gets weirder. Jasmine said some guy has been asking the front desk at the gym about you. Tall Asian dude, around 30. He told the staff he's your friend and wanted to know your schedule. They didn't give him anything, but they wanted you to know. Marcus. Had to be. Thanks for the heads up. I'll talk to the staff and make sure they know I don't know him. You think this is going to be a problem? I hope not, I said. But I'm documenting everything just in case. It turned out to be a good instinct. Over the next 2 weeks, the harassment escalated. Marcus somehow found my work email and sent me a long, rambling message about how I'd stolen Victoria from him and owed him a conversation man-to-man. Victoria herself created new social media accounts to try to message me. Someone, either Victoria or Marcus, I couldn't be sure, left a note on my truck windshield that read, "Coward." I saved everything. Screenshots, photos, dates, times. I didn't respond to any of it, but I built a file. Finally, after 3 weeks of this nonsense, I decided enough was enough. I called the non-emergency police line and explained the situation. They sent an officer to take my statement, and I showed him everything I documented. The officer, a middle-aged guy named Rodriguez, looked through it all and shook his head. "This is definitely harassment," he said. "We can file a report and potentially pursue a restraining order if it continues. Have you told them directly to stop contacting you?" I blocked the woman on everything after our last conversation. The ex-boyfriend I've never spoken to, and I've ignored all his attempts at contact. That should be sufficient, but I'd recommend sending one clear, documented message to each of them stating that they need to cease all contact immediately. Then if they persist, we have clear grounds for legal action. So that's what I did. I unblocked Victoria long enough to send one text. "Victoria, this is my only message. Do not contact me again through any means. Do not have others contact me on your behalf. Do not come to places you know I frequent. This is harassment, and I will pursue legal action if it continues." I sent a similar email to Marcus through his work email, which he'd helpfully included in his message to me. Then I blocked them both again and waited. The harassment stopped immediately. 3 months later, I was at Ironworks again, this time legitimately on a date with a woman named Sophie I'd met through a friend. Sophie, 28, was a graphic designer with red hair, freckles, and an infectious laugh. We'd been seeing each other for about 3 weeks, and unlike my experience with Victoria, everything felt easy and natural. We were leaving the gym after a casual workout together when Sophie nudged me. "Hey, isn't that the girl from the story you told me? The crazy ex situation." I looked across the parking lot and saw Victoria loading gym bags into a silver Honda. She glanced up, made eye contact with me, and quickly looked away. No scene, no confrontation, just averted eyes and a hasty retreat into her car. "Yeah," I said quietly. "That's her. Wow, she looks so normal." "That's the thing about red flags," I said, opening the truck door for Sophie. "They don't always look like red flags until you're already tangled up in them." Sophie climbed into the passenger seat and looked at me seriously. "For what it's worth, I'm really glad you paid attention to those red flags, because otherwise you wouldn't have been available when we met." I smiled, leaned in, and kissed her. Best decision I ever made. As I drove out of that parking lot with Sophie beside me, I caught one last glimpse of Victoria in my rearview mirror, sitting alone in her car, staring at her phone. I wondered if she was texting Marcus, or if she'd finally moved on. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. Some people think revenge has to be dramatic, some elaborate scheme, or public humiliation. But sometimes the best revenge is just living well, making good choices, and refusing to let someone else's drama become your story. I changed a relationship status to single. I blocked a number. I moved on with my life. And that was enough.